Hello, hello, welcome to the Dead Air Dudes. I'm Izzy.
Put down the ganja, Izzy. I'm Raka.
Welcome, Dead Air Dudes Nation. Once again, we're getting into the true crime series. Once again, this time, part four, I guess. Part four of the true crime series. This time we have Edmund Kemper, the co-ed killer.
And boy, we're really filling the dead air with an indictment in the U.S. penal system with our case file of Edmund Kemper.
Known to many as Big Ed because the man was 6'9" and about 300 pounds. The dude was a monster, literally and figuratively. Size and because of all the stuff he did.
It's almost unfair to be given his dimensions and a reported IQ of about in the neighborhood of 145.
Yeah, depending. You see the report 135, 140, 145. Either way, the dude's a smart guy. And all right.
It's you got a predator that you've given a brain to.
Yeah. First and foremost, as always, we would like to, warn everyone what we're gonna give you guys is very descriptive, imagery and
This is our
and stuff.
obligatory parental advisement.
Yeah, if you guys are, could always check the next episode, and if not, just strap in and get ready for the ride.
Yeah, because this is pretty graphic, just like all the previous ones. All right, so I'm not disparaging California,
Well, yeah,
but
especially
we
the
have a California
Santa
here.
Clara. Oof. So,
How should we take this from the top? Let's say his birth, his family.
yeah, let's take one at a time. But born on December 18th, 1948. As always, we all know he's a serial killer. He was a cannibal. He was a necrophiliac. He was a rapist. And he was obviously a murderer. A murdering piece of shit, pardon my language. And from the beginning, he was a troubled child. He had issues with authority, in particular his mother, who was an alcoholic, by all accounts. And then he was such an issue to his mother that he was sent to live with his father. That didn't really work out, and eventually he was sent to live with his grandparents, where Rocco would take it away. And at age 15, what happened?
At age 15, Edwin Kemper committed his first acts of murder. Not murder, murders.
Yep.
And so he had an argument with his grandmother and retrieved the rifle that his grandfather had given him. And they live on a ranch. So trying to set it up, it's more of a rural setting. So he shot his grandmother in the head fatally and then proceeded to shoot her in her body twice thereafter. Now his grandfather comes back from food shopping. He goes out to the driveway and caps his ass. And he shoots his grandfather dead. Then he phones his mom to call the local authorities because this had just happened. He tells the local authorities and courts later that he shot his grandfather because he didn't want to see his grandfather discovering his dead grandmother's body.
But it even goes. Sorry to cut you off. It even goes even deeper. The fact when he tells his mother that let me see if I can find the quote exactly. That he wanted to see what it was to kill someone or to kill grandma.
So this was his first murder, but it was not his first warning sign.
No.
Now the father of this guy is a World War I vet. But he worked on bombs. He worked on nuclear testing. He worked on a lot of stuff. And at a young age, he left the mother. Yeah. And we need to get back here because the mother-son relationship is always everything.
A lot to unpack here, yep.
He could not stand, the father, could not stand living with the mother. She was intolerable. He couldn't deal with it. He had to get out. The mother later in life herself was diagnosed with some kind of social bipolar, some kind of personality defect, syndrome or something. And whether it is inherited or the way she raised him was abusive, and in this case, most likely both.
Right. But
So
not
the
let's
mother seems to
not.
have had, she has these issues. She was alcoholic. She was abusive. She belittled him, emasculated him. And again, this is his own accounts, but he has two other older sisters. And at some point, she was fearful of him, locked the door to the basement,
Made him
made him sleep in the
live in
basement.
the basement.
You know, you're talking about a lot of mental torment. Always um, humiliated him, told him he would not turn into something. Um, I mean, you're talking about a constant berating, sculpturing a maybe delicate or already messed up psyche,
Yeah. She
because you have this individual as a young kid, 4 or 5 years old, killing the family cat, dismembering the cat, and putting the head on a spit.
mm-hmm.
If a 5-year-old did that, I don't know. Seek help. Now, in most serial killers or most killers in general or
They
most disturbed
start
individuals
start with animals, obviously. We know that. I
with
mean,
animals, with most individuals, there's the McDonald's triad, right? And the psychologists will always point to um, torture and abuse on animals or pets, prolonged bedwetting, and she's embarrassed to say what the third one is, but it's probably another. Oh, fire. A predilection to fire, pyromania, or whatever. I mean, you're checking off boxes here, man.
yeah, checking out all the boxes.
Two sisters
In
that supposedly
two
one almost
seconds.
pushed him to the in his youth, push him to the deep end of the pool, almost drowned, and then they played this weird game of trying to shove him in front of a train. Again, maybe somebody should check out these sisters too. He may not be the only bad.
Again, he also played the game with them called gas. What they called it? It was called a gas chamber,
And
where he had them blindfold him and lead him to the chair, and he pretended to spaz out and die. Okay, not only that, but he also grabbed their dolls and um, sex acts and decapitated the other. And then he mentioned that in order to kiss a teacher he had a crush on, he would have to kill her.
so let's pause right here, not for station identification, but let's pause right here to stop and review how many fucked up things already have we covered. It's bananas, bro. You're talking about animal mutilation. You're talking about near death. You're talking about role playing with execution and suicide. You're talking about kissing and some kind of allusion to sexual relationships that is inseparable with killing them. And you're talking about an abusive mom, a broken home. Dad doesn't want anything to do with you. Dad doesn't want anything to do with mom, and you kill your grandparents.
Yeah, all this was at the ripe age of 15, or even want to call him before. All happened before he killed his parents, before he killed his grandparents at 15. So by 13, he was the and he dreamt, in his own words, of killing his mother. So
well, yeah, that's the only thing that actually makes sense in this whole damn thing, is that of all the things that we've put together in this blender, which is his head, I kill mom first.
Yeah, it is.
It's always the mommy dearest thing, right? There's always the mommy dearest thing. She controls, she manipulates. I gotta please her. I want her love. I want her attention. I want her affection. Be damned who I kill, who I hurt.
But what's crazy, and already there's a call. There's a call for help. As he already called his mother, told him what happened, and she tells him to call 911, which in turn he gets arrested. He gets sent to Atascadero State Hospital for the mentally ill, okay, where he is diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And he's also tested that he's a freaking genius. He has an IQ, like I mentioned before, of 130 to 145, depending on, whatever. Now, while he's there, he makes good with his doctors and the psychiatrists and all that, to the point where where one of the guys takes him under his wing and allows him to read all the reports for all the other inmates, all the other the people in there. Okay.
I guess there's no HIPAA then.
And while he does all that, he convinces them, or him for that matter, that he's well and to let him go. And not only that, he convinced him to have his juvenile record sealed. And he made them believe he was reformed. All this by the age of 21, where he was released. Okay?
From Hotel California?
From Hotel California. From Arkham Asylum, basically. And again, like I said before, the justice system,
Oh my God.
Thumbs up as usual. And already we've had,
My ass.
4 episodes within the True Conversation. And in every single one, there has been a huge faux pas made by who? The justice system. Again.
I mean, they re-diagnose him as having a personality trait disturbance and passive-aggressive type. Okay, I am passive-aggressive. I've been told this a million times. I've never killed my grandparents. I've never decapitated dolls or animals. I have not hurt anybody in this fashion. There's a fine line between verbally passive-aggressive and an outright freaking murderer. And you're so smart that you convince people to show me your files, read this, read that. He goes on later in life to tell people, whoever these people are, that he learned a lot from talking to the other inmates.
Yeah, I mean,
with crimes. He mentions, and I quote, "The rapist told me it's better to kill your victims after you rape them, so there's no witnesses." I mean, sure, that's, you don't need a logic, you don't need to be told that, but holy freaking shit, you're telling me you've allowed this nut, a smart nut, to congregate amongst other criminals to get more information on how you could get away with shit?
Well, as you can tell, as the killings kept progressively worse and worse, he got better at it. Better at hiding the bodies, better at
Well, he's a smart cat.
And mind you, he stopped because he chose to. I guess he reached his end game, which we'll get to, and that was it. And he gave himself up, which even to that point they didn't believe him, because he almost became a cop. The only reason he did not become a cop because he was too big, which is where the name Big Ed comes from, because he befriended the cops. They loaned him a gun. They loaned him handcuffs. His car even looked like a police cruiser. So it is, and at that point, he already killed 2 people, countless number of animals. He already had essentially escaped from a mental institution. And mind you, of course, this is the early 70s. I don't know, whatever. I mean, but just you had to put that out there. And then he begins his killing spree soon after. At the end, I mean, he gets a job. Okay, he gets a job. Starts working for the highway authority, and like I said, want to become a cop. Then become a cop. Then he gets into an accident. Actually, someone hits him someone hits him, and he falls off his motorcycle, breaks his arm, messes his arm up pretty bad, gets $15,000 in a settlement, so he can't work anymore. And what does he do? He says, "You know what? I need to change careers now. I think I'm gonna go and start killing people now."
And
Yes, mind you, he had already picked up hitchhikers and kidnapped them and then let them go.
right, this is where we're getting to the nitty gritty of
Oh,
the majority of now he claims or has been charged with, I believe, 10
10,
murders.
10.
10. But he picked up 150 or so hitchhikers his own volition. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. It's a less than 10% kill rate with this cycle. He may have arbitrarily came to the number 10, but God knows how many hitchhikers, majority of which are female, which again in the 70s, dear God, you women, what are you doing?
And mind you,
Then California is freewheeling and nice and lovey-dovey. You're
and
nuts. You're nuts. You're crazy. You're off your rocker. Are you out of your mind?
you had you had the Manson stuff. You had at that time you had John Linley Frazier and Herbert Mullins, who were also killing people around that time. You had Richard Ramirez, which that's next coming up soon. You know, you have a bevy, a bunch of different freaking guys doing their darndest to turn it into the murder capital of the world. And when I'm talking about New York City, ladies and gentlemen, and I can say that because I'm from New York, just an aside.
But so he does this. He picks up female hitchhikers. All right, we're already beyond that. What a stupid thing that is. Then he takes them to far beaten off path places to beat the shit out of them, kill them, mutilate them. Takes the bodies back home to mutilate them, decapitate them, and then perform sexual acts on the parts.
Yes.
You're not even your typical rapist and kill them. You kill them and then you do your thing after. There's a different sickness taking place here.
I mean,
I don't know the name for it.
he decapitated them and then he cut their hands off. Okay.
Cut many pieces off, and he still performs his acts on a dead piece of flesh, whatever his mode desires at the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's been said, it's been recorded that he has the decapitated, head and other pieces, and it's beyond, the fact that also he had different ways of killing. Sometimes he would strangle, sometimes he would shoot because he was proficient. Because oh, by the way, his grandparent taught him how to shoot. So,
and he used a hammer at times.
Imagine a guy who's 6'9", 300 pounds,
and he comes down
a hammer.
Well,
okay.
He killed 5 college students, 1 high school student, and then everything comes full circle. Hey, Mom?
Yeah, I mean, we can get into. I mean, you could find the names of the people.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
We're not gonna glorify it. We just give the facts. I mean,
but it comes full circle to kill his mom and his mom's best friend.
So he goes. This is on a Good Friday, April 1973. He goes home. He gets into a heated argument with his mother. And then he hits her with a hammer and slices her throat. All right. And then he's not done with that because he,
of course not,
dismembers her body.
The party's just starting.
While also committing sexual acts with her head and ripping out her larynx and shoving it down the garbage disposal. Okay? Because and I quote, "That seemed appropriate as much as she bitched and screamed and yelled at me for so many years." And then he also used the head as a dartboard. He threw darts at it. No words.
So
No words.
You guys out there, if you ever feel upset, you had an argument, I would say do some exercise, go for a jog, um, get a stress doll, punch a pillow. After he apparently has arguments with his mom, he goes out looking for female hitchhikers. I mean, I mean, yes, he's on a different level of emotional and social detachment, but he's got the wherewithal to not get caught and to do things. He even has the sick wherewithal to turn himself in.
Yeah, it's like I said, this guy, well, you said it before. It was like 100 and something people he picked up hitchhike. If he wanted to, he could have. I'm not saying how much more he could have gotten, because the dude is so big, he would have gotten caught. But how many more he could have killed? If let's say we keep it at his word at 10,
Yeah.
he
How many
could
missing reports, and you have to tie it into where
he
they
could
hit.
have gotten 20, 30, 50, 100. He reached his end game of killing his mother and which we get to mention his mother's best friend, which he called her over, and the poor lady also got shot and dismembered and thrown in the closet.
Now, now, it takes a different cat, a different individual. You kill all these hitchhikers, you're a killer. You mutilate them, you're nuts. You do these sexual acts on their body parts, you're sick. You now kill your own mom. I mean, this is the Psycho movie. This is the Bates Motel we lived. And then he turns himself in, like you said, and
They didn't believe him.
yes, but
They're all of his boys. They didn't believe. Oh, Big Ed couldn't do this. And then he led them. He led them to bodies and to prove. And then eventually they're like, oh shoot, you're right. You're the co-ed killer. Okay.
he's the co killer, and he knew. He must have known, because he ain't no dummy. He must have known California at the time has suspended the death penalty, which again, California, you keep rocking.
For the win.
Sunshiny, golden, tan people.
But
Yeah,
he pleads insanity. Obviously, erroneous. Now, I did read a report, which again, let's see, what true or not. The judge supposedly asked him on what his punishment should be, and he said that he should be tortured to death. Now, in all the reports I've read, he said that he wanted, lethal injection. He wanted, to die. Again, who knows? But he did plead insanity. Again, not sure.
I have to assume that he's no idiot. He knew that there was no death penalty. I
Yeah.
think he was playing them.
You know what? I kind of agree. So you got 8 concurrent life sentences, and he's currently still there. He's still alive. He's like, what, 71, 70?
Well, actually, he's mentioned in a statement. He's happy in prison. He's happy to be in prison. 3 hots and a cot.
Mm-hmm.
You could work out. You could talk to people. Mama's gone.
He's probably happy as a clam in there because he's got enough inmates and enough. He probably go find all the crazies and he could freaking talk to them all day, all night with television.
I don't think I'm going out on a limb here, and I am not speaking for the victims' families and any of that, but I can just put myself, if I put myself in the shoes of the victims and everything. You talk like that, you outwit the system. Now you're saying you're happy in prison. I mean, I would do a freaking Kickstarter fundraiser. I'll pay some guy in the prison, torture his ass, make sure he hurts, fry him, send him off to hell.
I mean,
he outwitted everybody.
Yeah, just listen to this quote, and then this just exemplifies the whole thing and his mindset and why obviously we're pro death penalty, why this person should not be around. What do you think now when you see a pretty girl walking down the street? One side of me says, wow, what an attractive chick. I'd like to talk to her, like to date her. The other side of me says, I wonder how her head would look like on a stick. Now, that was quoted by, or similarly, by Bateman in American Psycho, and it was attributed to Ed Gein. No, it was actually Edmund Kemper who said it, not Ed Gein. So yeah, just that quote in itself just exemplifies the craziness and the evilness within this person, you know. And just because he's out of his mind, it doesn't justify anything in me. Just saying. That's just, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
I mean, in addition to everything else, not that we need to pile on, but he also engaged in cannibalism, liking to eat the legs of his victims and even make a casserole out of them. Like you needed.
That's exactly.
Like you needed any more details. Sorry about that. That he's a sicko. And again, take it for what it's worth. Hello, California residents, and New York has their own crap. You're paying for this man to stay alive, get medical treatment, to read library books, to work out, to breathe the fucking air. You're out of your freaking mind, California. You're out of your freaking mind.
And for some reason, this particular person has captured the imagination of media in general, that on the show Criminal Minds, he's been mentioned and or appeared in a way or fashion or inspired by in about like 7 different episodes, countless number of bands and songs have been made about him. And not to mention, I do believe, don't quote me on this, the show Mindhunter had episodes on him as well. So I know we're all enamored. That's why we're doing this podcast. We're all enamored with the other side. You know what I mean? That dark side that we just, open the door, just peek in, like, wow, that's really messed up. But you don't really want to stay there, and that's the difference.
Well, I think we can get a lot of this, a lot of things out of this. We can extract for our listening audience, like, please, unless you really, really have to, don't hitchhike in California.
Yeah.
Second thing is, thank goodness that there's cameras almost everywhere for some reasons like this. You can fragment people's location, at least narrow down if in the vicinity, if someone went missing and there's someone around. That's thank God for that. But to bring to light, there's no perfect system, no perfect penal system, but you do have a spectrum out there of the guy who jaywalks, and that's all he is, and you shouldn't beat the shit out of him, to this cat who can play the system, got out of the system, befriended the people in the system, even turned himself in and got everything he wanted out of it, which is he's still alive.
Yeah.
I mean,
of the 4 episodes we've had, 3 of the 4 cases, you have people still alive. And Shipman killed himself, and we probably know he did it for personal reasons. It wasn't so much because he felt so traumatized that
he played the system. He beat the system.
Exactly. All these guys have one thing in common.
They got some brains that is sick. We went and visited, reopened the case with Samuel Little, the most prolific serial killer in the U.S. And you don't get away with how many people he's killed for how long if you were a mindless brute.
Yeah.
He's highly intelligent, and he knew every loophole, and he calculated like a seasoned hunter his prey. just like Edmund Kemper, just like anybody else that we're going to visit in the future. Mind is a terrible thing to waste. Sometimes it's a terrible thing to use if misused. And again, another concurrent thing we visited in each one of our cases, mommy or daddy or whoever nurtured and raised you, you done fucked up. You fucked up royally.
Yeah, I mean, but it in every case, it's a combination of mess up, of fuck ups. Let's be honest. Within the legal system, like we said before, to environment, to family, to themselves, to everything. And yeah, if you guys are enjoying this, let us know. We'll keep bringing you
More
different case studies and more effed up stuff, and we can talk and discuss it. So this was Edmund Kemper, the Coed Killer, and there's not much more else to say about this sick fuck.
Yes, and tourism to California, beware.
Jeez, especially in the 70s. My God, what the heck was in the water over there?
A lot of shit happened in the 70s. Apparently, most of the cases we've visited right now, that was not a good time.
No, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. There's like another freaking 7 or 8 there going on in that same area. So but
70s killer spree, and of course, in the New York City area, Son of Sam.
which we'll definitely give Sam an episode or two. So
all right, we'll put Edmund Kemper to bed now. Thanks, guys, for listening, liking, subscribing. Keep on keeping on, and we appreciate you tuning in to our podcast and our YouTube channel, our Instagram account, and everything in between. And we are trying to fill the dead air. I'm Rocca.
I'm Izzy.
Save the ways and be safe out there, people.
Take care, guys. Be safe and take care.